As Europe watches, the war in Ukraine rages on, marking the most significant conflict on the continent since World War II. In this confrontation, the entire balance of European security is being tested. Yet, to Europe's south, another conflict of immense proportions unfolds in the Middle East, where the Israeli-Palestinian conflict threatens to expand into a regional war. Gaza has been reduced to rubble, and fears grow that the West Bank could suffer a similar fate. Israeli forces are not just operating within their borders but have extended military operations into Lebanon. This is no longer a localized conflict between Israel and Hamas. It has become a wider struggle involving Hezbollah, militias in Iraq and Syria, and, indirectly, Iran. The concern among policymakers in Europe is that these clashes could spread further, drawing in other countries in the region, with consequences that would reverberate far beyond the Middle East. Many analysts have speculated that Israel's ultimate goal might involve confronting Turkey. Some argue that the religious aspirations tied to Israel's historical narrative could drive it toward an expansionist policy. Indeed, there are voices suggesting that Israel's ambition stretches from the Mediterranean to the Euphrates, including regions that historically intersect with Turkey's borders. These views, while extreme, have captured some attention, especially considering the heated rhetoric from both Israeli and Turkish leadership in recent years. Yet, a realistic evaluation of these claims leads to skepticism. Israel, a country of approximately 9 million people, of whom about 7 million are Jewish, lacks the demographic and military capacity to occupy vast swathes of territory. While its military might is formidable, particularly its air superiority, drones, and missile defense systems, Israel's success has come largely from asymmetrical confrontations with much weaker, divided opponents. These forces, such as Hamas or Hezbollah, lack Israel's advanced technology and the support network that Israel enjoys from Western powers, notably the United States. Europe, especially, views Israel as more than just a Middle Eastern actor. It is a key outpost of Western military and political power in the region. In any discussion of Israel's capabilities, one must consider the significant American and European backing it enjoys. From air defense systems like the Iron Dome to intelligence sharing and military resupply, Israel functions under a Western umbrella of protection. Any military action Israel takes is understood in European capitals as being, to some extent, an extension of broader Western interests. Given this context, the notion of Israel engaging in direct conflict with Turkey seems far-fetched. While there are ideological and religious elements to Israel's geopolitical stance, its primary concern remains survival within a hostile regional environment. An all-out confrontation with Turkey, a NATO member and a powerful regional player, would be a catastrophic misstep for Israel. Instead, the tension between Israel and Turkey may manifest in subtler forms, such as diplomatic isolation or proxy battles through regional allies. Israel's interest in countering Iran's influence, for instance, overlaps with Turkey's involvement in Syria and Iraq. These regional power plays are complex, and the rivalry between Israel and Turkey, both of whom see themselves as regional leaders, is likely to persist in the diplomatic sphere rather than the battlefield. At the core of the current geopolitical game in the Middle East lies a much larger strategic confrontation. European analysts often refer to Samuel Huntington's thesis of a clash of civilizations, and this concept resonates with the current situation. Israel, positioned as the standard-bearer of Western interests in the Middle East, stands at odds with a coalition of non-Western powers that include not just Iran but also Russia and China. The U.S. support for Israel is emblematic of a broader alignment of Western and Israeli interests, while countries like Turkey, which straddle East and West, complicate this divide. Turkey, with its Ottoman legacy, has long played a unique role in bridging East and West. Unlike many Middle Eastern states, Turkey was never fully a part of the Islamic East, nor is it entirely integrated into the Western order. The Ottoman Empire, at its height, represented a synthesis of European and Islamic civilizations. This historical context continues to influence modern Turkish politics, where the country's leaders see themselves as inheritors of a legacy that does not fit neatly into the West-East binary. For Europe, this dynamic is particularly important. Turkey's position challenges the sharp division Huntington predicted. It disrupts the narrative of a simple confrontation between the Judeo-Christian West and the Islamic world. Turkey's ambitions in the Middle East, its complex relationship with both Western and non-Western powers, and its balancing act between NATO and regional aspirations present a challenge for European policymakers who hope for stability in an increasingly polarized world. As the conflict in the Middle East deepens, Europe must prepare for the possibility of greater instability. The Israeli-Palestinian war could spark broader regional involvement, and the prospect of a destabilized Turkey, caught between its NATO obligations and regional entanglements, would be a nightmare scenario for European security. If anything, Israel's military actions and diplomatic maneuvers in the coming months will test not only the resilience of its neighbors but also the strategic patience of its allies in Europe and beyond. In conclusion, while Israel remains a dominant military force in the region, its expansionist aspirations are tempered by practical limitations. The possibility of direct conflict with Turkey appears remote, but the geopolitical game being played between Western and regional powers is far from over. For Europe, the stakes in this game are rising, as both the war in Ukraine and the conflict in the Middle East bring instability closer to the continent's borders.